Nori is traditionally made for wood block in Japan, and it's just rice paste flour, but I've found it works totally fine for this screen printing process. I'm currently in Italy, so that's why it says farina di riso, but that just means rice flour. I believe you can also do this with potato starch and corn starch, anything that makes some sort of paste to suspend the pigment in will be absolutely fine. And this is literally the easiest way I've found to do it. Super easy. You need 20 grams of rice flour, which is not much, 100 milliliters of cold water, and 150 milliliters of water that's heated up almost to boiling. Then you mix it, keep stirring until it goes translucent, and then just leave it to cool. And once it's cooled a bit, you can just mix in your acrylic paint and it suspends just fine. And then that allows you to push it through the screen. Spatula to keep that moving around. You can see it's quite white, and it's not going to change dramatically, but it will get clear. Very, very translucent anyway. It will still have like a slight cloudiness to it, but it will be, when you put acrylic into it, it will be plenty clear, plenty transparent to suspend the colour in. So that's pretty much it. I'm just going to decant this into little ramekins here. So if I just try not to burn myself. There we go. And that is the nori paste right there. So with that, we'll leave it to cool. It will continue to get a little bit more thick, a little bit thicker, a little bit more body to it. To show the ink, I'm just going to do a little print of this. Now this is just a drawing of a tree in my local park. It's quite clearly way too big. This is our screen size. It's about 15 centimeters, 20 centimeters or so. Print that we did earlier was this. You can see that sits quite at the extremes of this process. It gets quite close to the edge, and you can print this size, but you're pushing it. You're getting quite close to the edge, and it's totally fine. And we'll see if we can continue pushing the extremes of this process. I just took a photo of this on my phone and put it into Photoshop that I can use to make a really simple little print of this tree in two colours. I'm going to make two colours and see if that makes it look okay. You can see I've got a bigger space down here than I have up here, because what we're going to try and make is something like this. Now this one, you can see, if you want to see this being printed, you can check out the other video. You'll notice that this piece of paper, this risograph paper, is attached to a normal piece of paper, and that's so that the normal piece of paper can be pulled in to the fax machine easily, and it doesn't grab onto this paper very well. So this little space here is really useful, and what I do is I just print it off of my computer, this a little bit further up, so that when it goes onto this, it looks a little bit more central later on. So I'm just going to get a piece of the screen and tape it to a piece of paper. Super simple, nothing crazy. Here's a piece of waste paper that I'll use, And here is my risograph paper. Now you buy this in rolls. I got this off eBay. It's not expensive. In fact, that's exactly why I use it, because it is cheap. But it isn't perfectly cut. So there's a little problem here, because it's obviously wider than it is than we need. So a little bit of cutting and reorganizing needs to happen. Get my little cutting mat out. And yes, this is a little bit tedious, but it's not too difficult. It's not too annoying. And even if I am going to put it back a bit like this, I am going to make a full A4 piece of film, because I want to attach it all the way to the edges of this to make a strong attachment on the sides of this, so that it becomes a nice stable screen for when I want to use it. We need the shiny side out. Now, I don't need this chopping mat anymore. So if I just put it, now I generally put it about 2 centimeters down, roughly, not being super precise. Just masking tape, nothing special. Get some tape, get a bit long enough for the whole thing, and then nothing more complicated than that. I'm going to put it into Frank and see how it comes out. Okay, so we have our fax machine. We have the paper facing backwards so that it can come up through. Definitely made that mistake before. We have our black image with a space a little bit pushed up. I'm going to pop it in here for the machine to take. We're going to select fine. It just helps it a little bit, and then we're going to go copy, and hopefully, sometimes we need to help it in a wee bit, but hopefully it will behave for me. You know you want to behave. And here we go, perfect. Okay, so if I just take a little black pen, doesn't matter what kind of pen. So I have pretty much everything ready. I've got my paper, got my screens, my registration device, acrylic paint, something to mix it all with, and the paste. And I still haven't figured out exactly the correct amount yet. I've just been sort of making it up as I go along. So let's open up this green, and we're going to put our first colour down with green, and then our second colour as a sort of mix. I'm going to just use the same ink, maybe add a little bit more, but we'll see how it goes. So, that came out in an interesting fashion. So we're going to put in, I think, about half again of the paste, and that's looking pretty good. Give it a good fair mix. Okay. and good old printmaking fashion, you should be able to take a piece of paper, put it on your finger like this, and then that should be the color that it comes up. So if I just go boop, 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 and okay, so what we have here, we have this is going under. So I'm going to go a little bit faster and see if I can get the pressure really correct. That's looking a bit nicer. Again, we've got a little bit too much sticking here, so maybe a little bit faster, a little bit neater. The ink is going to be getting better as we go. Finally, a beautiful print. That's the one. So a couple of things are happening here. My printing technique is getting a bit better as we go, playing around with it. And also, as we strain out the paint through the process, the paint is getting a bit thicker, and the thickness is giving us a much nicer print. So, lesson for future, make sure the print is thick, the ink is thick. Cleaning, the printmaker's pastime. If you don't like cleaning, don't become a printmaker. What I wanted to do with this is to add some of this to it. So let's see if we can just add some of this in and change the color. Now, as before, get a piece of paper, put a little bit on the finger. It's going to be like that. Okay, so here we have them. We've got all of our little prints of this lovely tree. Now I've got some fingerprints around them, and the little mistakes here and there of the process. The registration's all a little bit here and there, but it's a really lovely little series, so you can really see the detail is fine, no problem.